started. As I mentioned, we're going to work on some shoulder stuff tonight. We'll be doing first a little flow, then some somatic work, and we'll finish with some marma point stuff for the shoulders and the arms, which will be really nice. And then a little mini yoga nidra to tie things up. So make sure you have your tennis balls. We're going to use them outside the sock today for a little bit, and then we might use them in the sock. So I might have to have you put them back and forth. But we're going to start using them outside the sock. So if they're in the sock, you can go ahead and take them out. We don't need them just yet. And then also have your blocks, bolster, or pillows, and some blankets for our practice. I'm going to go ahead and put everybody on mute. Hi, Holly. I didn't get to say hi to you. Oh. I'm going to mute everybody and go back to my notes. Okay. All right, so go ahead and come down into whatever comfortable position you'd like to be on your back. And that might mean like a shavasana, it might mean feet flat, especially if you have lower back stuff going on. It might feel better to have a bend in your knees. And establishing your smooth, even breath as you're ready. So I was really hoping the storms were going to hold off here, but I just heard thunder again. So hopefully we're going to be okay. I haven't had any power flickering today, but the last warnings I saw said it's supposed to be severe, starting like maybe closer to 7. So hopefully we'll be okay. But just giving you guys a heads up, if we get disconnected, that's probably why. All right, so taking a few more rounds here, letting the breath soften. And just kind of checking in with yourself, how you're feeling tonight as we begin our practice. Let's take about 3 more rounds of breath. So allowing things to smooth out, settle down, allow yourself to arrive. And then on your next inhale, let's come into a full body stretch. So really reach out long through your arms, through your legs. And then as you exhale, just come into a knee hug. And you can either just hug knees, or maybe you're going to lift your head, chest, and shoulders. And then repeat. So inhale to a full body stretch. Exhale, hug in. Let's go ahead and do that one more round. And then release with your feet flat on the ground. And then from here, take your right leg over your left leg. And cross all the way at your inner thighs. So we're going to be doing some kind of more gentle versions of eagle pose tonight. Not coming into like the full balancing pose. I'm saving that for the in-person classes this week. But this is our more relaxing practice of the week. So we're going to keep it more chill. But just keeping those legs squeezing together, let your arms relax as if you were in eagle pose. Now, some of us can take that top foot and wrap it around the shin. So my shins are not long enough, so maybe yours are. So I don't have that full wrap, but see if it works for you. We're going to take an inhale, and as we exhale, we're just squeeze those inner thighs together, activating the adductor muscles. And then soften and release. Do that 2 more cycles. On your exhale, just squeeze those inner thighs. Let your back stay nice and neutral here. And then release. 1 more round. And then unwind it, foot flat. And then let's go ahead, cross the other leg on top. Again, you might just do the cross. You might be able to hook your foot around your shin, around your calf. And then 3 rounds, take an inhale, exhale, contract and squeeze. And then release. So we'll do that 2 more rounds. All right, and then when you're ready, go ahead and release. Let's do a little windshield wiper with the legs. Now we'll practice the arms. So as you inhale, take your arms out to a T, nice kind of wide open position. And then we're going to take the right arm over the left, and first just give yourself a hug. So grab your shoulder blades, pull your shoulder blades apart. So we call that protracting the shoulders, when they're pulling apart away from your spine. And some of you might feel more comfortable just staying here with the shoulder hug, and you can do your squeezing action there. Or we're going to come into our eagle arms. So you might bring your forearms and your palms kind of back to back, or some of you can do that second wrap, and then you'll interlace your palms. So your palms are facing each other. You guys know that one, right? Okay, so now again, we're going to take an inhale, exhale, squeeze. And notice how that feels through your shoulders, your upper back. And then just a little bit of softening, 2 more rounds. And then we're going to very, very slowly unwind. So super slow motion. Let the arms come down and take a breath or 2. And we're going to notice tonight what it feels like when we release, when we're doing some kind of a bind like that. So that's part of the practice. The letting go is equally important to the work that we're doing. And now take your other arm on top. Coming into those eagle arms again. I'll actually start with a shoulder hug. Sorry about that. Pull the shoulder blades away from each other so that your middle back starts to be more directly on the ground. Protracting those shoulders, then come into those eagle arms. We'll take an inhale, exhale, squeeze. 2 more, inhale, exhale, squeeze. 1 more time. And then slow motion, unwind, and let it go. Take a full breath in and out here. Now we're going to do the whole pose together on the back. Starting with the right leg crossing over top. And then we'll go left arm on top. Start with your shoulder hug again. Pull those shoulder blades apart. And then if you like, finding your eagle arms. Take an inhale here. Exhale, squeeze the inner thighs. Squeeze the arms. Feel that contraction. And then soften for a moment. 2 more rounds. Notice how this pose really broadens the back body. And then slow motion, unwind, let the arms and legs come down and feel that opposition of all that contracting inward, the engaging, and now the releasing. Second side, left leg crosses over, right arm on top, shoulder hug, shoulder protraction, and then intertwine into your eagle arms. Inhale, exhale, squeeze it in. And 2 more. All right, let it all go once again. Arms and legs come down and take a few breaths. So for me, I notice when I do a pose like that and I'm all kind of bound up, it's almost like it's restricting the energy flow when we're in that bind. And then when we release, there's just this sense of flow through the body. Like it's almost like we open the dam and things can flow again. Okay, let's go ahead, bring those knees back into the chest for a moment. Maybe do a couple circles. Both directions. And then we're gonna go ahead and roll over onto our side and come on up into child's pose. So make your way into child's pose, letting those arms stretch forward if it's okay for your shoulders. Allow the hips to draw back. Just take another breath or 2 here. Okay, next inhale, we're coming up into our tabletop position and our 5 cycles of cat-cows. So we'll inhale, look up, little arch to the back. The shoulder blades are a little bit more retracted here. Then as you exhale, the shoulder blades spread apart, pushing through your palms, drawing your tailbone down. And then repeat, inhale, arching. Exhale, rounding. Okay, go ahead and take 3 more rounds, really feeling that movement of the shoulder blades here on the back. Just be mindful of not overdoing it, guys, with the lower back and the neck. So keep a little control there. See a little bit of hyperextension going on. Might keep some tone in the lower abdomen that'll help support your back. And then just watch out for not throwing the head back, kinking the neck. Keep the neck long here. After your 5 rounds, maybe you did an extra one, go ahead and move it back to your child's pose once again. Okay, coming back into tabletop position. Some of you have done this one with me before. I call it shoulder flossing. And we're just going to move through that kind of retraction, protraction here in the shoulder blades. The important part is keeping the arms straight. So we're not bending the elbows at all. Tone the abdomen, keep the abdomen lifting. And then we're going to let the chest kind of lower toward the floor, and we feel that impression in the upper back. So shoulder blades are retracting. And then we're pushing into the ground and the shoulder blades spread apart. But we're not going all the way into a rounded spine. We're trying to keep a neutral spine. So we're kind of what we call flossing those shoulders. Drop down between the arms and then push away. 3 more times, feeling that movement in the shoulder blades. Really nice for our upper back strength here. Countering that tendency to have a rounded upper back. Last one. All right, go ahead and rest back. Take another moment, rest your hands. We're doing one more round of work here in our tabletop. So just give those wrists a little break. All right, coming back up into tabletop position, we're going to move into kind of modified Gomukhasana leg. So by that, I mean take your right leg, we're going to bring it around the left leg. And then just like we did for eagle, we're kind of crossing the inner thighs. So the inner thighs are kind of crossed right in the center there. Maybe the feet come a little bit out toward the sides. And then we'll take an inhale, almost like a cat-cow, but then shift the hips back any amount. Maybe let the head come down. And then we'll repeat that a few rounds. Inhale forward. Exhale, draw back. One more time. And then stay in the down position for a breath or two. Inner thighs hug in towards each other. And then go ahead and come back up and uncross the legs. Let's go ahead, try that on the other side. So left leg stacks in front. Maybe separate those feet a little bit. Inner thighs gently hugging in. Inhale in the forward position. Exhale, draw back. Two more. And then on your last round, go ahead and stay for a couple extra moments. Keep breathing. Again, if it's not comfortable, you can always stay in the forward position. And then release. Come back, uncross, and send the hips back, child's pose. Okay, we're going to come into a seated posture from here. Feel free to sit up on something if you like. Fix my mat here. Okay, keep a tennis ball nearby, just a single. We'll use that in a bit. So just a little more work with the shoulders here. Let's just do some circles. So we'll inhale up to the ears and then down and around. Inhale up, exhale, release down. One more. Good, and then go in the opposite direction. 3 rounds. Nice and slow, just working on some mobility in the shoulders. Good, and then we'll go 3 more times in that first direction. So let's see if we can end in that going back position. Okay. Next round, we're just going to squeeze the shoulders up to the ears. On your inhale, really feel that intentional squeeze and contraction. And then exhale, melt them down very, very slowly. So we'll repeat that, and I want you to really focus on that releasing phase. See if you can go really slow and make it maybe almost twice as long as the contracting phase. So we're kind of teaching our brain how to relax. If those shoulders are kind of a little often hiked up a little bit toward the ears. One more round. When we get stressed, they tend to lift up a little bit. All right, go ahead, relax, and then just drop your chin to your chest and make a little semicircle with your head. So just go from one shoulder to the other. And as we know, the neck and the shoulders are very intimately connected. Last one. Coming back up to the center. Now we're going to grab that single tennis ball. And we're going to do a little myofascial work here. So I want you to find, there's almost like a triangle here between your collarbone and your neck and your back. And that's like the upper trapezius. We're going to put the ball right there. Doesn't matter which side you start on. Now, make sure your hair's out of the way if you've got long hair. And we're going to see if we can trap the ball between the trapezius and the head. Now, it might not stay. If it doesn't, you're going to have to hold it there. And I got mine to stay earlier. There we go. So if you put it just slightly forward, it'll probably stay and you won't have to hold it. If it's not staying, you're going to just hold on to it with your hand, okay? Now, try to just squeeze your shoulder and your head together, trapping that ball. And then just a slight release so you don't drop the ball. Okay, do that 2 more rounds, squeeze. Now we're just getting that little pressure into some of these tight areas. Relax. And then 1 more time, squeeze. And relax. Now keep the ball there and move your head a little bit around. So you might go forward and back. Just see if you can get a little massage. It hits a little bit of the occipital ridge and the neck and the top of the shoulder. Okay, let it go. And just move the head around and feel maybe some energy flow through that side you just worked on. Okay, and let's try the other side. So find that triangle, that fleshy triangle. Balls maybe just a little bit more to the front than toward the back, because toward the back it's just going to roll out. And then trap it in there. Doesn't want to stay on this side. There we go. And then you're going to squeeze and release and do that 2 more times. I recently took a workshop with a teacher named Jill Miller. She does a lot of this work with the tennis ball. So I have her book and I really love it, but I just found out she has like on-demand classes. So that's where we're getting some of this ball work from tonight. Now go ahead and move your head a little forward, a little back. Good, and then release and just move your head around. You can set that ball off to the side. We'll be using it later. And just feel how that changes now after that little bit of work. Like my neck just feels a lot more open now. Okay, arms out to a T. And we're going to do a movement that we're going to do later in our somatic practice. We're going to end with some somatics. But I want you to see it here. Some of you know this one. It's called the wash rag. You want to think of your arms like you're wringing out a wash rag. So let's take the right hand and roll it up toward the ceiling and keep rolling it till you start to roll your hand toward the back plane. Then we're going to take the other arm and roll it forward. So one arm is rolling back, one arm is rolling forward, and we're going to wring it out. Nice and straight, and then switch. So the other arm rolls back, one arm rolls back, one arm rolls forward, and then just repeat going a few rounds side to side. So we're hitting the fascia that travels from our chest all the way out through our shoulders and our arms. You might feel how the shoulder blades move as you rotate your arms. I sometimes like to also look, as you might notice, I'm turning my head toward the arm that's in external rotation. So that's the arm rolling toward the back wall. One more on each side. Good, and let it go. All right, take a moment. Okay, eagle arms again, arms out wide. Right arm on top, shoulder hug. Pull those shoulder blades apart, sit up nice and tall, and then perhaps coming into your eagle arms. All right, from here, we're gonna do that squeeze the arms together, and then inhale, lift the elbows up, fingertips toward the ceiling, maybe a little back bend, and then exhale, lower. Okay, just go a little sideways so I'm not covering up my face here for the video. Inhale, lift up, and exhale, lower. Now, if you want, you can add a little bit of a fold here. So we might inhale into a little bit of a back bend. And then exhale, we might round, which will increase that shoulder protraction. Okay, so up to you if that feels good in your body. Lift and lower. 2 more. I don't know if you guys are hearing my sump pump go off, if you're hearing like a flushing noise. It's not a toilet in my room, it's my sump pump with all the water outside. Okay, now just like we did on our backs, we're gonna release slow motion and notice how it feels to let go. Okay, let's try the other side. Inhale, arms out wide, and then opposite arm on the top. Shoulder hug, pull those shoulder blades apart, and then eagle arms if you can. Okay, and then again, start with just a squeezing and lifting and lowering, and eventually you might add on a little bit of a back bend and a little bit of a forward bend. Couple more rounds. Last one. And then slow motion, unwind, take a moment. Feel the freedom in letting go. Okay, one more thing, Sita here, then we're gonna come back to table, we're gonna do some dogs, some lunges, and then we're gonna move on to our somatic practice. So this is, I'm calling it a down dog push-up. So I'll make you work a little bit tonight. So we're gonna take the arms out in front of us, and I think it might be better if I go side view here. So as if you're pushing on a wall, or if you're in down dog, you're pushing into the floor. So we're going to take the elbows and bend them out toward the sides. Out toward the sides. And then we're going to scoop them in. Elbows are still bent. Scoop in and see if you can feel some of your muscles turning on in your upper outer arms. And then push your hands forward. Okay, so it's very mindful, kind of slow motion. Bend the elbows out toward the sides. Scoop them in as if you're trying to hug a big beach ball between your elbows, and then push. Feel all that strength in your arms. One more time. Bend the elbows out toward the sides. scoop in and push. Very good. Release, shake it out a little bit. Now let's try that in weight bearing. So we'll go ahead and come back into tabletop position. And we'll try it in table and then we'll try it in dog for those of you who want to. You can also just continue to work in table. Okay, spread out through your fingers, push down into the floor like you're trying to push the floor away. Back of the neck long, a little tone in the abdomen. And then bend your elbows out toward the sides. Now scoop them in, squeeze them in. Elbows are still bent. And then push into the ground. Straightening the arms. And then go ahead and do 2 more rounds. I'm going to check in and see how you guys are doing with this one. This is really nice for not like hyperextending the elbow joint because we're engaging all those muscles in the arms. Let's do 1 more cycle. And then go ahead and make your way back to child's pose. Okay, if you have any questions about that and you're not sure it's working for you, please feel free anytime. You can always unmute and ask a question. Okay, I have a blanket down, so I'm going to take my blanket out of the way. If you have one up down, you can remove it. We're going to use it again for somatic work. And then if that was tough for you in your upper body, you can repeat tabletop. Or we're going to try that in the down dog. So then it is really the down dog push-up. Okay, so when you're ready, walk your hands just slightly forward of your shoulders. Turn your hands out just a hair. So not like all the way out to the sides, just a hair. And then lift up into your dog. Now, before we do those push-ups, maybe shake your head out, pedal it out a little bit. And then come into stillness. Push your hands down into the floor and a little forward. Send your hips up and back, sit bones lifting. And then here we go. Bend those elbows a little toward the sides. Scoop the elbows in, little squeeze, and then push through your hands. Do this slowly. Let's go ahead and take 2 or 3 more rounds. I'm going to check in with you guys. And then as you push the arms are engaging. You're much less likely to hyperextend the elbows here. That's it. Looks good. 1 more round. Very nice. Okay, knees down. Child's pose. Rest the arms. Hard work's almost done. And we're going to come into a lunge. So feel free if you want to pad your knees or grab some blocks. Come up into tabletop and step your right foot forward. And we're going to rise up into a lunge. Okay. So finding your stability as we've been working on with our lunges, rooting down into the ground, hugging through the midline. And then finding that lift in the front of the abdomen and length in the lower back. Sometimes I just do that slight tailbone hook forward, just to keep that neutral pelvis. Then we're coming into eagle arms. So our right leg is forward. So our left arm is going on top. Arms out wide, inhale. Left arm on top. Shoulder hug. Protract your shoulders, pull them apart. And then intertwine, finding your eagle arms if you want to progress it. Now we can stay right here, or we might start to deepen a bit into the lunge. sliding into that front knee a bit, but do try to keep that neutral pelvis. So tendency is once we slide into that knee, we just dump into our lower back. So I want you to try and keep this little tailbone hook so we don't overarch the lower back here. All right, you can stay into the static position, or if you want, you can add a little movement by inhaling, lifting those elbows up, maybe a bit of a back bend. And then exhale, hinge forward. It's like we did earlier. And we're just gonna do 3 on each side. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, coming forward. Really root into that front foot. One more time. Back up to vertical, release, stretch your arms up. Hands down, step back, tabletop position, pause. Okay, when you're ready, side 2, step it forward. Come up into your lunge. Again, finding that stability, rooting down, inner thighs draw in, neutral pelvis, a little tailbone hook, arms out wide on the inhale, right arm on top. Good, finding those eagle arms, do a little squeeze. Maybe you're deepening into that front knee without dumping into your lower back. And then when you're ready, inhale, we're lifting up. Exhale, coming forward. Rooting especially into your front heel, 2 more. And last round. Next inhale, rising up, reach the arms overhead. And then hands down, step back, tabletop position, child's pose, last round. Okay, grab whatever you have that represents a yoga bolster. Put that in front of you. And if you don't have a bolster, at least maybe 2 bed pillows, unless you have a really thick, firm bed pillow. We're going to be on our elbows, so I'm going to put a blanket in front of that. And then grab 1 block. You might want to watch for a moment. I'm going to come down on my belly, and my chest is going to be on the bolster. And we're going to be crossing the arms, kind of like we did in our eagle poses. So I'm going to bring my right arm in the front, my left arm behind. So it's like this. Okay? So on the bolster, right arm in front, left arm behind, and then your head is going to go onto a block. Okay. So it's kind of restorative. Now, while we're here, we're going to actually be doing a little bit of action. So we're going to take the palms and try to reach them away from each other. So we get a little bit of that squeeze, and then relax. Okay, so try that a few more rounds. Try to reach your hands away from each other and relax. So again, we're opening up the upper back region, opening up the shoulder region. And then you can just kind of hang out there for a little bit. Take a few breaths. What block can be on any level that works for you. Maybe you want it high, medium. Low is probably not going to work so well. Some people like to let their head hang here too. I kind of prefer the block. And imagine you could breathe into your upper back. So every inhale, imagine like an opening, like your shoulder blades are kind of spreading apart. As you exhale, there's a bit of softening. Then keep that feeling of sending breath into your middle upper back. It's very often a stagnant area of the body, that thoracic area. Let's take 3 more breaths. After your 3rd breath, slowly start to come out. And then we're simply going to switch the arms. So when you're ready, left arm is going to go in the front. Reach your hands toward the sides of your mat. And we'll do a reach, a little squeeze, and relax. And 2 more rounds. Reach and squeeze. And relax as if your hands are reaching for opposite sides of your mat. And then after this next one, go ahead and just chill for a bit. Let your head be heavy. And then send your breath into the mid upper back. So every inhale, you might feel more of that protraction. Shoulder blades moving apart. I sometimes like to imagine they're like bird wings or angel wings. So your shoulders are like wings. That every time you inhale, the wingspan is opening in your back. And as you exhale, your wings are relaxing. One more breath here. All right, go ahead, slowly release. Press yourself up. If you want to take a child's pose here, maybe you want to drape your arms over your bolster. That might feel nice. Okay, so we're going to clear our mats of all of the props, other than we're going to put a blanket back down on our mats. So take a blanket and if you have a yoga blanket, it's folded in half, so it's about the same size of your mat. I have some of these really thick blankets I like to use because they seem to stay put better. And then we're going to grab our balls. So you need your 2 single sets of balls outside the sock. And just keep those nearby. We don't need them just yet. And then when you're ready, go ahead and come down on your back. And we'll start with our feet flat, knees bent, and then extend your right leg and your right arm. As you inhale, lengthen through your right arm and your right leg. And imagine that that length comes from deep in your hip joint and your shoulder joint. And let that right side lengthen and maybe let your head roll to the left and contract your left waist a little bit. And that'll help open up that right side. And then exhale and soften. So let's repeat that a few more rounds. One side is reaching. Inhale, lengthen that right side. We're staying on the right. Reach, reach, and then contract a little on left side. And then let it go. One more round on this side. Okay, let the right arm come down, bend the right knee, and switch sides. Left arm overhead, left leg extends. As you inhale, lengthen from deep in your hip joint and your shoulder joint, and then turn your head to the right, contract the right side. So it's a little bit of your hip joint toward your shoulder, and then release. Nice slow release. 2 more rounds. Inhale, lengthen, lengthen. This really lengthens our psoas, our side body, but we're also getting shoulder movement here. And one more. And then release your left arm, bend your right knee, palms flat alongside of you. Okay, this next one's called shoulder shuffle. So this is our somatic work. So we're going to slide our right hand toward our right foot, and you'll a little bit of shortening on the right side, and then left hand toward left foot, and you're going to let your head roll. So it's just going to let the head be relaxed. Now, as one hand reaches down, draw the other shoulder up towards your ear, and we're going to go side to side. And you'll feel how this awakens the fascia around your shoulder blades. So we get a little drag across the blanket, so it really stimulates our superficial fascia. It can help if we are stuck in our shoulders at all. And when I used to work at a desk for long periods of the day, long time ago, before I was a full-time yoga teacher, I used to feel really stuck in my shoulders because I was sitting in one place for, probably close to 8 hours. And I wish I would have had some of these moves back then. So we're going to do 2 more cycles. And then relax and just really observe. Now, when I do this movement, I really notice like a little tingling, a little vibration through my arms and my shoulders. Like I've just awakened some energy in there, some blood flow. Let's take another breath. Okay, so we're going to grab those 2 tennis balls. Now, as I've mentioned before, when we've done some myofascial work, sometimes the tennis balls can be a little bit on the intense side. So you can always put a layer of blanket on top of the tennis balls if that's the case. We're going to stick the balls on our upper outer shoulder. So I'm going to kind of just give you a little visual of where it would go. So kind of upper outer shoulder, sort of close to the arm, close to the armpit. And one's going to go on either side. And it's hard to get them in there. You kind of have to roll to one side, get one in, and then get the other one in. And they're underneath you, but they're close to the edge. So you have to be careful that they don't pop back out. So they might just shove them back in there. Okay, and then from here, let's take the arms overhead. And just like we did with the single arm and leg, we're going to just do reaches. So reach through your right arm, and now reach through your left arm. And you're just going to go side to side as those balls massage into some of this tissue in the shoulder, in the back body. All right, and then put your hands and interlace them behind the back of your head. Now, if this one becomes too much, you can go back to the first thing we did. We're going to start to lift up, almost like you're going to do a sit up, but you're not going to go far. And then you're going to roll a little bit side to side. Stay with that for another moment. And then release, and we'll slide those balls out. Take a moment to just feel the release. We're going to do very similar now, but more toward the trapezius, so we'll be a little bit higher. So now it's going to go on the upper outer trapezius. So if you want to take a peek, so it's not in close to your neck, we're going a little bit more outer. Okay, so we're going to pop the balls in, and the head's going to be a little bit off the floor here. No, actually my head goes down, it's fine. We're going to repeat those same moves, but now we're hitting a new spot. Okay, so reaching through your arms, side to side. And you can also do any of these moves without the balls. You're still going to get benefit of reaching through the arms and shoulders if this isn't too intense for you. I know when I first started doing ball work, I was like, this is like really bad, really intense. But now that I've been doing it longer, it's much more manageable. So if it is too much for you, please feel free to modify. Okay, and then hands behind the back of the head. You might need to roll your balls down a smidge so that you can lift your head and then roll a little bit side to side. It's a small movement. You're not going like really far, or else those balls are just going to roll out, but almost like a little side bend. And you're just rolling those balls across your upper back and neck. All right, go ahead and take the balls out and come back down. Always just take a moment to observe. Observe the releasing phase. Now I'm going to trouble you to put your balls back in the sock. So you might need to sit yourself up. I always have a set in the sock and outside, so I don't have to do that. But if you guys only have 2 balls, just go ahead and stick them back in the sock. Oh my gosh, we're running out of time already, guys. We're gonna have to finish this up. We're just gonna do maybe 1 or 2 more of these somatic work moves with balls for some more myofascial work. And then I wanna get to the marma point stuff. I should have just made this class an hour and a half. It always ends up being closer to an hour and a half. Okay, so now balls are going to go between your shoulder blades. So maybe like right around your strap line or a little above your strap line, and you'll come down. Some of you might feel like you need a pillow under your head. So I'm going to go ahead and grab one, because I feel like my head is dropping back pretty far. So up, folded blanket, a pillow, if you feel like you need it. It doesn't have to be there, but you feel like you need it. Okay, so take those arms out to a T. And remember the wash rag movement. So we're going to do that here with the balls on our back. So take your right arm and roll it toward the wall behind you, and take your left arm and roll it forward.
look at your hand on the right and almost like you're going to reach your hand to the right and then flip the arms and look to the left. And rotate those arms as you reach side to side. You can have your feet flat for this one, knees bent, give you a little more stability. Again, if this is too much, do it without the balls, or you could put some padding, maybe a thin layer of blanket. All right, so take a pause. Now we're going to add a windshield wiper of the knees. So take your knees, start to windshield wiper from right to left. And we're going to combine that with the wash rag arms. So now as your knees drop to the right, roll your right arm up, left arm down. And then knees to the left, left arm up, right arm down. Go side to side. Now this is a lot for the brain, but try to turn your head opposite of your knees. And if that's too much for you, keep doing what you're doing. Sometimes the brain's just like, nope, not doing it. Too confusing. You're rolling over those balls with the wash rag arms and the windshield wiper legs. Come back to the center, take the balls out. And let your back come down onto the ground and feel into your back body for a moment. We're going to repeat that one more time without the balls, and we're going to add on one more little piece. So I want you guys to look for a moment. So you don't have to sit up, just maybe turn your head. I'm going to drop my knees to the right, look to the left. I'm going to take my right arm up, left arm down, and here's that last piece. I'm going to pick my shin up, my right foot and shin, and it adds a little more twist in through the torso and the shoulder. Then I switch, and it's the direction that your knees are pointing. That's the shin and foot you're lifting up. So my knees are to the right, my right foot and shin is lifting up. So knees are bent. I'm windshield wipering, and I'm adding that lift of the shin. So it's not the whole leg lifting, it's just the shin and the foot. Okay, so I'm gonna check out what you guys are doing, see how this is going. Remember to rotate the arms. Maybe your head is gonna rotate. Okay, I can't see all of you, but those of you I can see looks good. And just notice how this feels in your body, all these twists and turns. You're really just like stimulating your fascia in your shoulders, in your hips, in your legs, in your neck. Let's do one more round on each side. And then just go ahead and let it all go. And just take a few moments. You can either have your feet flat or come into a Shavasana-like position. Feel and sense into your body. Okay, so we got about another 5-10 minutes to do the marma point massage. While you're resting for a moment, let me tell you what this is all about. So marma points are basically points of energy in the body. It's related to Ayurveda. I liken it to kind of acupressure points, but there's like thousands of these points in the body. And I took a course with my teacher on it and found it super fascinating. So we might bring this in over the next couple weeks. It helps rebalance our energy. It can help stimulate a parasympathetic response, helps muscle tension let go. increases lymphatic flow in the body, benefits our immune system, our circulation, and can help our body detox. So lots of good benefits. So go ahead when you're ready. We're going to roll to the side and come on up to sit. And we're going to focus in on the area of the arms and the shoulders since that's our focus for tonight. So we're going to do a combo of what's called abhyanga, which is self-massage, and then we're going to hit some marma points as well. So we're going to start with the abhyanga. So if you wanted to use any essential oils, you might want to, or lotion or anything, you might want to grab that. So I'm just going to grab a little bit of lotion and a drop of oil. It just gives you a little glide, but you certainly don't have to. You could just use your hands, okay? And if you have a shirt on, you could even go underneath your sleeve. We're going to start by bringing one hand to your opposite shoulder and just let that arm rest. And we're going to circle around the shoulder joint. So just circle around. You're doing about 5 rounds, circling that shoulder. Good. And then we're going to sweep down the inner arm. Sweep down. So this really helps with the lymphatics, which are right under the skin, and then sweep down the outer shoulder. Then we're going to circle around the elbow joint. Really beneficial for our joints as well. And then sweep down from your elbow joint to your wrist joint. Okay, and then go on the other side, sweep down. So we go inner and outer. And then we're circling the wrist joint, just like you're going back and forth, like you're doing like they used to do when you were little, the brush burn thing. But just be gentle with it. Okay, then we're going to pull off every finger. So like kind of squeeze and pull off. In Chinese medicine, the meridians begin and end in our fingernails and our toenails. So it follows the pathway of all these organs in our body relating to our fingers. And of course, the fingers also relate to the 5 elements. Okay, relax and just feel that arm. We're going to come back to it in a little bit and do the marma points. That was kind of the abhyanga part. And now we'll do the other shoulder. So circle around your shoulder joint. This is a really nice thing you could do before bed, help the body relax. Okay, sweep down from shoulder joint to elbow joint. Just either go on the inner or outer arm, then you'll do the opposite. And then catch the other side. Circle the elbow joint. And then from elbow joint to wrist joint, slide down. It's a nice gentle pressure. It's just so soothing. And then the other side. And circle your wrist back and forth. So we're hitting all the joints here through the shoulder to the arm. And then we're going to pull off each finger. So just kind of twist as you pull off. Then we go through the fascia around the joints of the finger. Really kind of pinch right at the fingernail as you pull off. Good, and then release. Okay. So now we're going to do the marmas. So the marmas, an easy way to think of it is they're midway between the major joints. There's lots more, but the ones we're focusing on are going to be midway. So we're going to go midway between the shoulder and the elbow, midway between the elbow and the wrist. And we're going to do inner and outer. So first thing we're gonna do is kind of like on the bicep, you're gonna use your thumb and you're gonna circle 3 times. So find like that middle point, doesn't have to be exact. Circle 3 times in one direction. And the pressure could be however you like. It doesn't have to be even heavy to have a difference. And then go the opposite direction 3 times. And then you're gonna go 3 times in the first direction. And then you're gonna slowly peel away and then hit the opposite side. 3 times in one direction. Reverse. And then 3 times back again. And slowly peel off. Okay, now lower arm. Find the center point between elbow and wrist. 3 circles in one direction. And there's a lot of benefits to each of these marma points. Other way. I have a book on it. I don't have all the details written out. Go back the first way, but like there's different benefits to each of these points, just like an acupressure point might be. And it usually relates to the area that you're working on. And then on the other side, 3 times, each direction, and then reverse. Okay, and now we're going to do center of the palm with your thumb. 3 times, circle. Reverse. This one actually overlaps with an acupressure point for our heart. And back again. Okay, relax, feel that arm. And we're almost done. So we'll finish up, other arm. Find the midpoint between shoulder and elbow. Do your 3 times in each direction and then reverse. You might notice if there's any particular points that are really tender. Might be ones you want to do regularly for a while. Other side. And when you're ready, midpoint between elbow and wrist. You can do this on your legs as well. Maybe we'll do that another time, but just using the same technique we used tonight. And then other side of your arm. Okay, center of your palm, and we'll finish up. Okay, release, and you're going to cross your arms, and you're going to go up and down and up and down. Just sweep, almost like you're ready to take off your t-shirt. Yep. All the way up to the shoulder, all the way down to the wrist. 2 more. Okay, go ahead, release. And just feel and sense into that energy flow through your arms. And we'll make our way onto our backs for our Shavasana. We'll do a mini yoga nidra where we're going to focus on each of these points. So feel free to set yourself up how you like. So you might wish to put your bolster under your knees. Do have your palms face up for the yoga nidra if that's comfortable for you. At your side, maybe a pillow under your head if you'd like to cover up or add any weight to your body or an eye bag. You can do any of the above and just get yourself cozy. And I think we're going to be ending just about on time because the thunder is kicking up here. So I'm going to give you guys a moment to get really settled. Just have that sense of the body releasing into the ground. Think of all the work. You might notice the shoulders and how they're resting on the ground after your practice. Right, so we're going to start by bringing our awareness to right at the center of your collarbone. We're going to use that as a starting off point. And then we're going over to the right shoulder joint, right where we circled. And then to that midpoint between the shoulder and the elbow, let's go to the inside. And then notice on the outside, that midpoint. And then your elbow joint, the midpoint between your elbow and your wrist. On the inside of the arm and the outside of the arm. Notice your wrist joint that was circled and the center of your palm. And then notice each of your fingers, starting with your thumb. Notice your fingernail and your index finger, middle finger, ring finger, and pinky finger. Working your way back up, and we're just going to go through the wrist joint, the elbow joint, shoulder joint, and then back to the center of your collarbone. From here, we're going to go over to the left shoulder joint, finding that midpoint on your upper arm on the inside, and then the outside. Feeling your elbow joint, and then the midpoint between your elbow and your wrist on the inside and the outside. Notice your wrist joint, center of your palm, and then your fingernails on your thumb, index finger, middle finger, ring finger, and pinky finger. Moving back up through your wrist, elbow, shoulder, and back to the center of your collarbone. Feel your whole arm on your right and your left from your shoulder to your fingertips. Notice the inside of your arms and the outside of your arms. Whole shoulder girdle relax. Arms heavy. Feeling and sensing into the center of your palms. Take a couple more moments just to rest and relax.
noticing now the effect of your practice. I'm going to wrap things up because things are really getting wicked here in my yoga room. Just got a really loud crash of thunder. So take your time. We're just going to deepen the breath a bit and start to move gently. Try not to rush. Invite in those smaller movements, let them evolve into bigger movements. Feel free to roll onto your side for a pause. Try not to rush yourself up to sit. After a moment or two on your side, let's go ahead and come back up to a seated position. Let's go ahead and place our hands together in front of our heart space. And we'll take a nice inhale, and as you exhale, bow into your heart. And thank you for joining me on this stormy evening. Namaste.